Good afternoon and welcome to the Firestation Fundamentals Webinar Series. My name is Darren McGarvey and I'm co-host, co-founder and director of Firestation. I'm joined by my co-host Rachel McGarvey, who's also co-founder and director of Firestation, and is going to be your webinar facilitator today. These were put together to help local businesses get through and come out hopefully possibly even stronger from the COVID crisis, or at the very least, survive through. We need to acknowledge Rotorua Lakes Council for their support and funding to make these possible. We are not. Are we recording?
No, we are. Leave it alone.
We are recording. Yes. So we are recording this session as we recorded all the others, and this is number 7, isn't it? That's right.
I think
It's
so.
webinar number 7. So you'll find all the others available where, Rach? On our
website. So thefirestation.nz/training, and it's that first link on that page there.
Yeah. Otherwise, and we've got them on YouTube too, don't we? On our YouTube channel. Yeah.
YouTube, and I also post the link onto Facebook as well.
Yes, there's a few new names on here. So we've done other topics like growing revenue, where I've gone through about 6 different frameworks for innovating. We've had other speakers on account, tax, and we've had the banks on. We've had a range there, so they're all there to watch. And today's one will be there as loaded within probably within 12 hours, I suppose, 24 hours.
Should be there by the morning.
Yeah. So in terms of questions are very much welcomed. You can use the chat function, which you can find on your toolbar. You can ask us personally a question, in which case, or privately, we will keep that anonymous. Otherwise, you can just ask a question to the wider group, and obviously everyone can see it. You can put comments there, like how good looking the facilitators are today, anything else that's relevant like that. What else do we need to know? Yeah, so or you can just unmute yourself and ask a question. That's all good. We've got a smaller group. So I think that's pretty much it in terms of introduction. Yeah. So I'm about to hand you over to Rachel. Rachel is teaches marketing in our programs. She's a 20+ year veteran of marketing, worked at all levels from senior marketing role at BNZ, right through to working with startups in our current business, but at all levels, and there's very deep understanding of all aspects of marketing. So you're very lucky. Of course, today's topic is going to be focusing on online marketing tips, and there's one thing that COVID has taught us in all of our businesses is how important it is to have an online strategy, and online marketing should absolutely form part of that. So Rachel, I'm going to hand over to you, and the floor is yours.
Awesome. So thanks for joining us today. I have some slides to go through, so I'm just going to share my screen. Obviously, we only have, allocate an hour to this, so I've got quite a lot to get through. So some things I will just skim through. The slides will be made available post-session so that you can read back through them when you've got a bit more time rather than me reading through them verbatim. So today I wanted to touch on, if I can get my slides to work, marketing post-COVID. So I thought, let's think about what has changed. So in New Zealand and across the world, those that have been in lockdown, there's not been a lot of spending in those alert levels 3 and 4 when it was very restricted. We've seen since going into level 2, since last Thursday, there's been a lot of activity, lots of people are out, lots of people spending money, and that's all that pent-up demand of not being able to buy anything or much of things over the last sort of 4 to 6 weeks. Everyone does think that that spending spree will stop if and when that happens. We are crystal ball gazing. Over the last 8 weeks, online orders have increased dramatically, but it's still a small proportion overall. So we did a webinar with Retail New Zealand, and they said that pre-COVID, only 9% of retail spending was actually made up from online orders. So it is still only a small proportion of overall spending. There is a belief that discretionary spending may be reduced, and that's just people have got concerns about job and financial security, so they are looking to tightening their belts, and businesses especially are looking to reduce their costs, so there might be reduced spend from businesses on the goods and services they use as well. One of the first lines of expense that businesses do tend to cut when times are tight is their marketing, and I don't necessarily agree with this. So it could be seen as a good time and a good opportunity for those businesses who want to invest in their marketing, either by keeping it at its current level or even potentially spending more. There is a huge focus on, and I heard this term this morning, localism, and that's buying local, buying New Zealand made. So these are the things that we need to think about when we're looking at doing our marketing, post COVID-19. And as Darren mentioned in the intro, it's just shown the huge importance of your online marketing assets. So many businesses were caught with their knickers down really by not having email databases, by not having websites, by not having systems set up to take online orders, and they've been scrambling to get those processes in place so that they can actually trade and bring in some revenue. So it's really important that it doesn't matter what business you are in, you need to have an online marketing strategy. So that is sort of what's happened in terms of business and the things you need to think about when you're doing your marketing. Now, people have asked me, what should I do differently? And really, in all truthfulness, not a lot. The same marketing principles apply before COVID to after COVID-19. What you need to really make sure, because discretionary spend might be down, the actual pie that people are spending is less, and you're going to have to fight for every inch of that pie that you're going to get, you're actually probably going to have to be smarter with your marketing. It's really important that you have the foundations in place. And what I mean by that is that you need to know what is your why. Why are you in business? Who is your customer? What is your unique selling proposition? And what are your goals? And all of these things should be part of your overall business plan and tie into that. So it's really important that you then have a marketing plan. Know what you're trying to achieve, who you're talking to, and what drives them to make those purchasing decisions. Once you've got that information, you can then work out what the best marketing channels and map out what your marketing activity will be over the coming weeks and months. Two key areas I want to touch on is your unique selling proposition. So many small businesses don't know what theirs is. When I sit down and talk to them, it'll be like, oh, it's because we're really good at what we do. Your unique selling proposition is really telling customers why they should use you over everyone else. It can be location, it can be product range, it can be the way you deliver your product, it could be eco-friendly, could be speed, range, the options are endless. But what it has to be is it has to be exclusive, it has to be credible, and it has to appeal to your target audience. So what I mean by that, if I'm selling washing machines and I decide that I'm going to bring in a line of pink washing machines, because that's really different. First of all, if I'm saying I'm the only one that sells pink washing machines, I have to be the only one that is selling pink washing machines. It has to be credible, so it has to be true. The washing machines have to be pink. And probably the biggest thing is it has to appeal to who I'm selling to. So the people I'm selling to need to desire and want a pink washing machine, because otherwise I'm not going to get my customers, because no one's after what I'm saying is my point of difference. And that leads into really understanding who your target audience is. I've worked with small business owners and I'll say, who's your target audience? And they'll go, women. It's like, well, we kind of need to get a bit more detailed than that, because currently you're targeting 50% of the population. Your marketing will work so much better if you come down and understand the characteristics and behaviors of segments of your target audience. So for Firestation, what we do is we segment by age and stage of business. So we look at startups, small business, and medium to corporate businesses. Because within each of those segments, they have specific needs that are unique to each segment. And so we tailor our marketing messages to each of those needs and stages of business. And it means that our marketing can be more effective because of that. So you need to think about what your target market is and what are the characteristics and how you can segment them. It was interesting we did a tourism webinar this morning for South Waikato and how to attract the domestic market, and the speaker was talking about you need to look at the different types of travellers, and this is exactly what I mean by target market. So for tourism operators, some of them are, you know, the 55s plus, the double income, no kids, the family groups, the friends travelling together. So you need to look at each of those sort of segments within your own audience and work out what the characteristics are and what pain or problem your product or service solves for them. And that then becomes part of your key messages that you use in your marketing. Once you've done all of that, you can then set up some marketing goals. And the key for marketing goals is that they need to be aligned with your overall business goals and that they're measurable. There's no point doing a marketing goal of growing my social media audience. What I would want to see is some specific numbers and time frame. So I'm going to grow my social media followers by 25% on Facebook in the next 3 months. So you've set time bound and a target that you can actually measure against to make sure that you're reaching it. Set out your marketing calendar to plan ahead for the next 12 months. And this is really key. So many businesses miss seasonal opportunities to do their marketing. In retail, you've got Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Father's Day, all of those key points in the calendar. And sometimes you get so busy in the doing of your business that you kind of forget that those big key dates are coming up. And really, you should be having your marketing all set out, ready to start, sort of at least 3 weeks before those dates hit, depending on your lead or delivery time. So it could even be longer than that. In terms of a marketing plan, I don't necessarily think that they have to be overly long. You don't have to have a 20-page document. I find those ones tend to sit in the bottom drawer of your desk and never get used or referenced. I've come up with a 1-page marketing plan, which pretty much just is the basis of what your purpose is, what is your why, who drives your business, what you do, or communicated in short, succinct sentences. Your target market, marketing goals, marketing strategies. Budget is really important to set. There's no magic number. I often get asked, oh, what do I need to spend? It really varies from business to business because everyone's pricing is different, everyone's cost of sales is different, everyone's lifetime value of a client is different. So if you're selling high premium goods with a high cost of good and a high profit margin, then you're going to be willing to spend more per conversion than someone who is selling, something for a couple of dollars and they're only making, 15% profit margin on that. So it does come down to what's the lifetime value of each sale or client and how much profit margin or gross profit you're making. In terms of how to set a budget, you could look at your cash flow and work out realistically what you could afford to set. So it could be a couple of $100 a month, and that's what your budget is. Or you could link it to revenue and go, well, I'm going to put, 10% of revenue into my marketing, 5%, whatever the figure may be. But the important thing is to actually think about it. Think about what results you want to achieve, and then realistically, how much you need to spend to drive the sales to reach those results. And once you've mapped all this out, you can then fill out the marketing activity calendar so that you know what activity you're going to be doing month on, month out, what your objectives are, what your key messages are for those campaigns, and how much you're willing to spend on each of those. In terms of regular marketing activity, I actually want business owners to reframe how they think of their marketing. A lot of people tack on their marketing activity or marketing tasks on the, when they have time. If they have time, they will do their marketing. They might update their website. They might, post to social media. Your marketing needs to become business as usual. So just like you do your GST return on a, monthly, bi-monthly or 6-monthly basis, just as you do your PAYE monthly, you should be doing regular marketing activity. It should be business as usual. And that on a month-to-month basis is things like you should be continually updating your website. Your website needs to be updated every month. You should be doing a blog and a customer newsletter at least quarterly, if not more frequently, depending on your business. You should be active on social media. You should be doing media releases if and when appropriate. And there should also be some networking and events, when life gets back to, some semblance of normal. That is your everyday, day in, day out, during the month. Those jobs need to be done as business as usual. On top of that, you will then have campaigns to meet specific business objectives. So you will have additional campaigns to, drive leads, convert them into sales, and drive loyalty and repeat business. So, you need to rethink how you do your marketing. If you don't have the time to do it yourself, then you might need to look at getting someone in to help you, whether that's a contractor or a part-time employee or something like that. But marketing needs to be prioritized in your business. I'm going to spend the rest of the session on online marketing because I feel that most small businesses, that's the most appropriate method or channels for them to market their business. It's the most cost affordable, and it's the area that a lot of businesses need help with. And why is online marketing so important? It's because 80 to 90% of purchase decisions start with an online search. So the question you need to ask yourself is, can your business be easily found online? And when people do find you online, does it entice them to find out more about you, to contact you, visit your premises? And if you're not happy with the answers to those questions, then there's some work that needs to be done. The first thing I instruct all businesses is you need your own website. Some people have said, oh, but I do have a Facebook page, surely that's enough. No, it's not. You need your own website because you don't actually own your Facebook page. You don't have any control whether Facebook will show people your Facebook page. Facebook changes their algorithms on a regular basis, which impacts the reach of your posts, how many people see your information. You're not guaranteed to come up in search results on Facebook, whereas in a Google or a Bing or a Yahoo, whichever platform you use, when you search, people search for your business or product or service, and as long as you've done the work on your website, you should come up in search results. Your own website, you own the platform, you control it. The other key benefit of a website over just having a Facebook page is that people who are searching for your product or service in Google have a higher conversion rate. They already have buyer intent. They are already looking for your product or service. Whereas on Facebook, people might see your post or your ad on Facebook, and they might not be even in the market or even know that they want your product. Whereas people searching for your product are already in the market for what you do. And the other thing with having a website is it just gives you more credibility as a business, and people feel more confident in buying from you when you have your own website. But just having a website, unfortunately, isn't enough. There are something like 2.7 billion websites in the world. So when someone types in, you know, co-working Rotorua, Google has indexed all these websites, and it spits out what website it thinks is the most appropriate and ranks them on the page. It's called Google search engine rankings. So not only is it important to have a website, you need to make sure that when people land on your website, that it retains them and they find out the information to buy from you, and that you're actually found online. When people land on your website, the biggest thing is design and content. It needs to be appealing to your target audience. We all know we've all landed on a website which has been like jam-packed with text, or it's a horrible color, or it's just, you know, a visual assault on the eyes with too much information and images all jam-packed together. And if the website doesn't look nice, isn't easy to read and follow, we quickly back out. So you only really have up to 3 seconds to keep a visitor on your site. So it needs to be appealing to your audience. It needs to be easy to navigate. People need to be able to get around your site and find the information thereafter. The other thing that sometimes gets missed off websites is contact information. You go and get on a website, oh, this is exactly what I need, I want to contact them. And you can't find a phone number, you can't find an email address. Contact information should be easy to find. There should be a link, loud and proud, on every page of your website for people to contact you. You need to have a call to action. You need to tell people what is the next step to do business with you. Is it to shop online? Check out your shop online. Is it to come to your retail premise? Is it to email you, call you? What is the next step to actually do business with you? And I've already touched on this, search engine optimization is crucial. Now, you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars with people who are going to tell you to optimize your search engine optimization. Basically, what that means is they're putting keywords, the terms people are searching for, to find you in your content on your page and in the back end of your website in titles and it's called metadata descriptions. You can spend thousands, and a lot of the time it doesn't actually help. The best thing to get good search engine results is actually have good quality content on your website. And also make sure your keywords are in your content, in your headings, in your page descriptions. But quality content will drive good search engine results. I can't see the chat. Have there been any questions? Oh, I can't hear you, Darren.
No, yeah. I've got 2 mute buttons. Yeah, no questions so far.
Cool. Sorry, so if there is, just let me know, because you can't call up chat while you're sharing your screen.
Oh, if you go up to view options or something like that, you can click on chat off the
no, anyway.
The window? No? Okay.
No, anyway. Social media. I'm assuming that as a business, you all have a social media presence of some shape, way, or form. Social media, there are about 3.4 million active social media users in New Zealand. And on average, we spend 1 hour and 53 minutes on social media each day. I actually read an article this morning that says we check social media 14 times a day on average. So some people check it maybe once, and then there's the other end of the extreme, which must be checking it every half an hour to get that average of 14 visits per day. But as a business, what social media should you have? The first one is Google My Business, and that's like your Google Map listings, and it just helps you with the search rankings for your website. You don't have to post to it, you just need a business listing on Google My Business, and make sure you keep it updated with your opening times and contact information if that changes. Over the lockdown, you should have all updated your business hours on Google My Business, and if they've changed again, make sure you go in and update them again. LinkedIn profile. Really important if you're doing business to business, servicing business to business customers. LinkedIn is very much social media for business. So you really should have a personal page with your own work history and also a business page. And then Facebook. Facebook is the king of social media in New Zealand. It has the most user accounts. It has the most time spent on it month in, month out. So Facebook, regardless of what you do, you should have a business page on Facebook. And then, depending on your audience, you should also have an Instagram page. If you are targeting people who are under 35 and your product or service is visual. Instagram is images only, so you need to have a visual product or service to be able to really effectively have a good page there. Pinterest if you're in the craft, DIY, cooking industry. Snapchat if your target market is under 25. And Twitter if you're targeting the US market or news agents, or you're a news agency. Twitter is needed for you for that. There's a bit of buzz about TikTok, saying TikTok's going to be the latest new trend for marketers. I'm taking that with a grain of salt at the moment. They kind of said the same thing about Snapchat, and Snapchat really hasn't taken off for a lot of businesses to use it as a marketing channel. So it'll be interesting to see whether TikTok follows that pattern or not, but that's one to watch potentially. If you're targeting a really young audience, it might be worthwhile investigating into TikTok, because that is where especially teenage girls spend a lot of their time. But tips for Facebook and Instagram or any of your social media accounts. Ideally, you should post 3 times a week. Or if you can't post 3 times a week, at least be consistent with when you're posting. So if you can only really do 1 post a week, make sure that it's a same time, same day of the week, because Facebook will get used to the fact that you post every Tuesday morning, and it will know when you post and then share that post out after it's published. If you haven't already, install the Facebook Pixel. Now what the Facebook Pixel does is it just puts a little bit of code on your website that then tracks every single person that visits your website. The Facebook Pixel also allows you to create lookalike audiences. So if you have an email database, you can upload your emails into your Facebook Pixel and it will create a lookalike audience of your customers. So it will go through its database and go, oh, people who like your page are female, they're between this age group, and they generally like these type of pages. And then it will go you can create ads to people like that. So it's a really, really effective marketing tool to target new customers. In terms of what you're posting to your page, get creative with content. Try and limit posts that are just selling your product or service. Think about it that you should have posts that inform and educate, and that's not just about your product. That could be how to use your product, it could be the components in your product. You should have posts that entertain. We're on social media to connect and be entertained, so you should try and have entertaining posts that are relevant to your product, service or industry. And you should post reviews. If you've got some really good reviews, post reviews. And then, every now and then you can do a promotional post to drive sales and conversions of your audience. Try not to focus too much on the number of likes or followers you have. That can be a really artificial measure. look more at the engagement and reach metrics. How many people are you reaching with your Facebook page or social media accounts, and what percentage are actually engaging with your post? Because it's far better to have, 500 followers with a 50% engagement rate than 10,000 followers with a 1% engagement rate. Because ultimately, if people aren't engaging with what you're posting, they're most likely not seeing what you're posting, so it's a wasted effort. In terms of average numbers of followers and likes, in New Zealand, this is September 2018 is the last research I've found on this, but back then the average New Zealand business Facebook page had less than 500 likes. So don't think if you're, that if you're under that 500 that you're doing really badly. That's actually the average. And it comes down to making sure that the people who follow your page are actually your target audience and your customers. So check your insights and just do a sanity check on you can check location, gender, age, and make sure that it gels with who you think should be following your page. If you're a Rotorua-based hospitality business, but the majority of your followers were in Wellington or overseas, there's a bit of a disconnect there, and you might need to look at what you've been doing or how you've got so many people following your page that aren't actually your customer audience. The other thing with Facebook is once you've posted something on Facebook, you'll get prompted to boost it. This post could reach so many more people if you boost it. Or, this post is doing 85% better than all your other posts, boost it. My recommendation is really not to boost posts. It's just easy money for Facebook. You're far better off going into the Ads Manager platform and creating targeted ads. And the reason for that, you get better spend of money and better results. There's a lot more targeted information that you can use to make sure that your ads are going to be shown to the people that are most likely to respond and do whatever you want them to do with your advert, whether it's to follow your page, sign up to your email database, or even potentially buy your product or service. So as a rule, I don't recommend boosting, but I do recommend Facebook advertising through the Ads Manager platform. It's really important that you have an email marketing database and that you send emails to your audience on a regular basis. Some people look down on email marketing and go, oh, it's just old school, everyone was doing it and it's not that effective. In actual fact, the conversion rate from email marketing is generally higher than any other online marketing that you will do. And the reason for that is if you've obtained your email list in an appropriate way so that you've had a dealing with the person, they already know who you are. So they're considered a warm lead. They already know you exist. It's not a cold lead. So it's much easier to get someone to buy from you if they already know you than someone that's just seen your ad on Facebook or on Google. So definitely take the time to cultivate an email database and then send regular communications to them. I recommend at least quarterly. And it can be more frequently. It depends on your product or service. New Zealanders do have a tendency not to like to be over-emailed. I've signed up to women's clothing stores and they're emailing me every day. I don't buy clothes every day. And I very will quickly, if they email me too many times in a period, I will actually unsubscribe. So use your unsubscribes as a way to guide whether you're sending out emails too frequently or that aren't helpful content. You need to make sure your emails are user-friendly. There's nothing worse than getting an email that says, buy me now or sign up here or register, and you go to click on that image or that link and it doesn't take you anywhere, or it takes you to the wrong page where you can't actually get what you think you were going to be getting. So make sure, test your emails and make sure all the links land on the right pages, all the images actually take your customers to the right page so that they can do whatever it is you're wanting them to do. Really helps with your email conversions if you personalize your emails. So that, and there's twofold to that. The first one is, you know, you can actually go, "Dear Rachel, blah, blah, blah," in your email content. And the other one is the from field. The from field and the subject are the two things that we see the most, the first thing we see in our inbox. So the from field, people like to get emails from people versus businesses. So I've noticed it with my own. I used to send out emails from Firestation. I now send them from Darren and Rach, and they get quite a higher opening rate just because it's coming from Darren and Rach rather than, you know, the business Firestation. Exactly the same content, just the from field that they see is different. Try and include video content if you have it. Research out there has shown that if you say there's a video in your email, it increases opening rates significantly. Showcase testimonials. You know, people believe peer-to-peer testimonials much more than they believe what you say about your own product or service. So include your testimonials on your website, share them on your social media, and include them in your emails that you send out to your customers and prospects. I always sign up to competitors' emails, and it's more just to see what they're doing and make sure that I'm doing it better or providing more useful information than them. But it's a good idea just to, it can help you think of new things that you can send out to your own customer database. And the other thing about emails, if you're struggling on what to send or how to send it or how it should look, is think about the marketing emails that you receive for companies that you like and products that you buy, and why do they appeal to you, and how can you use that knowledge to then make your own email marketing be better for your own customers and target audience. How are we going for time? All right, paid advertising. Now, there's no free rides in life, and I strongly believe that you will at some point, if you don't already, pay for online advertising. If you are only using social media and the free version of social media, so you're just posting to your page and not paying for it, it's very time consuming to create the content that's going to drive the amount of traffic that you need to get the sales that you need. If you have all the time in the world to be able to do that, awesome, go forth, spend the time and get the sales organically. But ultimately, businesses don't have limitless amount of time to do that. So I recommend that you look at including budget to pay for advertising on social media and other online platforms. Your paid advertising options include social media, and that's all of them: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. Google ads, so it always amazes me that not everyone realizes that some of those first listings you see when you search for a product or service, that if they have a little AD below the business name or page name, that's actually a paid advertisement. So I think it's about 50-50 of the people that realize, and they will just skim those ads and then go down to the organic, versus the people that just click on the first result that comes up in their feed. You've also got the likes of banner advertising, and those are sort of Google display ads. They're on all sorts of sites like Trade Me, Met Service. And you can do online paper ads on the likes of Stuff and New Zealand Herald. If you're doing paid advertising, the one thing you need to realize is online ads are quite different to traditional paper ads. They need to be very singular in purpose. If you think about how we scroll through our Google search results or scroll through our social media feeds, we're doing it very quickly. So you have to really call out your audience with imagery and headlines that's going to capture their attention, grab it so that they can actually absorb the information and then click through. All online ads should direct people to a landing page and not your website homepage or potentially a product page. A landing page is a website page or a page built in an app, or there's a whole heap of, you can use landing pages, click funnels. There's a whole heap of services that you can sign up and pay for to create these landing pages, even MailChimp. And basically the job of the landing page is to get them to do the one thing that the ad has enticed them to do. So your ad there grabs their attention, they click through to the landing page, and the landing page job is to convert them. So you could be advertising to sign them up to a database, to buy a product, to register for an event. The only thing they should be able to do on that landing page is sign up for the event, or sign up for your email database, or purchase your product. Now, in terms of cost, New Zealand Google Ads average cost in New Zealand is $1.70 per click. So you get charged if someone clicks on your ad. You need to spend a minimum really of $10 a day, so $300 a month. And basically you will use Google will use your budget, and once you've exhausted your budget for the day, your ad will be shown no more. But it is quite variable. So it comes down to how competitive your keyword is and the industry you're in. So if you were doing a brand name, potentially the likes, say, Rebel Sport, you could potentially get that for 10 cents a click. But if you're in the banking industry or insurance industry and we're searching for home contents insurance, that potentially could cost you up to $50 a click. And it just comes down to how competitive the space are, how many people are trying to advertise in that space, and how much they're willing to pay, how deep their pockets are. But on average, it should be around $1.70 a click, unless you're in those really highly competitive industries. In terms of New Zealand Facebook ads, the average cost per click is $1.86, and the cost per 1,000 impressions is $11.20. But again, there's huge variables. So if you're advertising women's clothes or apparel, you can usually get clicks down anywhere between 20 and 40 cents a click. If you're advertising in smaller areas in the regions, so for us when we do our business advertising, because we're very regionalised, we're doing Rotorua or South Waikato, etc., I might need to pay up to $2, sometimes even $3 a click, because my audience is so small, I have to pay more to reach it. But ultimately what you need to make sure is your cost of advertising more than is paid for by the cost of the sale. So you don't want to spend more in attracting new customers than what the customers are going to spend with you. So that all needs to factor into your decisions on what advertising you're going to be doing. In terms of the ads that you're running, you really need to make sure that you're targeting ads based on the marketing funnel. So, you've got your leads funnel, and your advertising should be targeted to the different stages within that funnel. So you should be having ads that I call cold adverts. These people don't know you exist. And this is just, hey, I'm here, and this is what I do. You should really focus on a problem or a want or desire that that target audience has. And it's just a shout out to them to say, we're here, we do this, we can solve this for you. So it's just getting awareness that you exist. Then you want to target those people with warm adverts. And these are the ones that you're providing compelling reasons for them to trust you and to choose you. So you're moving them along the buying process. And then you'll want ads that are for your repeat customers to drive loyalty and repeat purchases. And these ads are just reminding them what you have to offer and educating them on new offerings, or even potentially rewarding them for your loyalty. So at any one time, you should have a series of ads running. So you're attracting new people with your cold advert. They click through to find out about you on your website. That then means that your pixel kicks in, and then you're targeting them with new ads on Facebook. That is very much a reminder that they were interested in you and you're still here, and this is a compelling reason for them to buy from you or to use your product or service. And then potentially you'd have other ads that are just reminding people that have purchased from you. So that could be another pixel ad as well, that you're there, and not to forget that they can buy from you again. But it's really crucial that regardless of what you do, you measure your results. Many years ago, and when I did my marketing degree, however long that, I don't even want to work out how long ago that was, we were talked about measurement, but it was really hard because the channels we were using back then, the print, the radio, the TV advertising, you could never measure your results really that accurately. Now we're living in an age where the online platforms can tell you specifically how many people saw your ad, how many people clicked, how many people then purchased from you online if it's an online conversion. So it's really important that you look at those results and make sure that the advertising you're doing is working and getting you the results that you need. Go even further than just looking at your ad results. Have a look at your social media engagement on your posts. What posts get the most interaction? Have a look at your website. What pages get the most views? Because that information really helps shape where you should be spending your time in terms of what's getting the most involvement and interest. Do more of that, so then you can get, reach more people and then work them through the marketing funnel to eventually buy from you. And that was pretty much all I had to cover. It was very high level. Have we got any questions?
No, still no questions.
No.
So, yeah.
Anyone got any thoughts, comments? I've stunned you all into silence.
I have a question about, I own a custom home building company, like residential building.
Yep.
And we get most of our clients through word of mouth. And we've got work lined up for the next year. But after that, if things are getting really slow, we're looking at our marketing now.
Yep.
How do we, what are the best areas? Because home building is a real, you buy once from that person and then you're not going to build another house from them for ages. So email marketing and stuff, I'm just not really sure about how those would work for us. Or
so you could, there's a couple of different options you could do. Definitely Facebook, because obviously if people are building their homes, they're not overly young. Do you know who your target market characteristics are?
Definitely we work with older people, plus 40, but even plus 50. And then generally at the moment we're working with a lot of people that are retiring and building kind of a forever, their final home, selling up their farm. And so, it's higher end, bigger spends.
So, you could definitely look at doing some Facebook advertising, but I'd probably want to delve deeper, and maybe you need to think about, are there other channels that might be more appropriate given the age of the people you're dealing with? Are these people normally first time at building a home, or?
Not necessarily. But, some of them are they're putting lifts in and stuff because they foresee being there for 20 years and being kind of old, or they've sold up, say, in Auckland, and they're moving down into the regions to kind of retire. We get almost all of our business from word of mouth referrals.
Yeah.
And then, so we have some advertising out there in the form of signage, sign writing on our vans, or signage on our sites and stuff. And we've got our website, and we're affiliated, you know, we've got listings on like ArchiPro, some other sort of building related sites, but we don't do anything. We have a presence on Instagram and Facebook, and we post quite a lot on there, but we don't do any other advertising. And it hasn't been a problem yet, but you know.
But I do like that you're forward thinking, because I always say the reason, you know, why I talk about cold, warm and repeat is that you should always be trying to fill that funnel, and don't get in the point that you're overwhelmed with work but not thinking ahead that when that work finishes, have I got nothing else coming in. Potentially what you could look at doing, and I don't know, does your website have a blog?
It doesn't.
Yeah, you could add a blog and then potentially create some articles or information about what people need to look out for when they're building a first home, and cater that information around your audiences. So, you know, future-proof your home so it's, you know, the last one you have to buy, and it will see you through to your golden years. And think about, and then you can provide the information of all the things they should be thinking about, including lifts, you know, rails in the bathroom, all of those sort of things. And then you could potentially do ads so people have to sign up to receive that information. And then you capture their email addresses. They're obviously looking at getting a house at some point in the future because they're wanting that information.
So, and then you would take your blog posts and put them out in an email marketing form as well.
Correct.
Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much, I say whatever content you create, you should spend more time distributing it than creating it. So, you know, if you can spend an hour on the actual blog itself, it may take you longer, but then, you know, you should spend 3 or 4 hours making sure that you distribute it to as many places as possible. So that's, you know, email, social media, friends, family, whoever you can share that information out to.
Yeah, the other thing to think about too, if referrals are a large source of leads, then some sort of referral incentive or even acknowledgement program would be probably beneficial. So every single referral that we ever received, I acknowledge with a gift personally. And you know, as you grow, it can get quite challenging. But you know, we're not probably talking about hundreds of referrals here a year. So yeah, it could be you know, could be something worth thinking about. And also, you know, as you build with you, it's thinking about the downstream effects. Once someone owns a house, you know, there's ongoing challenges and things they need to know. So you can build a community around people that have built a house previously, and they again will still be a great source of referrals as well. So yeah.
Because ultimately, even if, you know, there is a very long life to your product, so, you know, people aren't building a house every year or every couple of years. It's making sure that you still stay top of mind, so that if they know someone, they're referring you.
This sounds really old school, but is it worth doing like a Christmas card every year, even to old, like people that built a house 5 years ago and things like that?
I actually,
or those things just irrelevant now, you know?
If you, as long as you're talking an actual posted Christmas card.
Yeah.
And especially if you're looking at that older audience as well, I think that's something that they could potentially value. Needs to have some sort of personalization into the card though, and you could do it by segments. You know, you could do it, you know, these ones moved in 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago, and slightly change the messages in each of those cards so it feels quite personalized. And because that's the power, people will get those warm fuzzies if you make it more personalized than just a generic Merry Christmas from XYZ building company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other thing too is if people are thinking about additions or renovations, as they're, you know, they might change their minds or their circumstances change, then they may want you back to do things, and yeah, that all helps to stay, yeah, like Rachel says, top of mind.
Okay.
Cool.
Sarah's just commented, my life insurance broker sends a birthday card every year, which is nice. And that's the other thing. If you have other personal information, like birthdays, anniversaries, whatever that case may be, even acknowledging those rather than Christmas can actually get higher cut through. Because it feels very more personalised, and it's not such a busy time of year where your messaging could potentially, or your efforts could potentially get lost, because we're all busy buying presents and organising food and the the busyness of Christmas.
Very good. Any other questions? No, I think that might be it. We're dropping people, so
Cool.
we'll,
It's an hour.
we call it time. So thank you very much for tuning in. This may be our last one. Potentially we may do one more next week, but we haven't decided yet. It needs to have demand and a reason to do it, obviously. But just some reminders. Don't forget there's a small business cash flow loan available from the government. If you pay it back within a year, it is interest free, and even so, it's you got no repayments for the first 2 years, and it's a 3% interest rate. Might be worth just applying and even perhaps putting it aside just in case. I'm a big fan of having available funds or lending facilities just in case. And if COVID has taught us anything, that just in case is something we need to have. Don't forget we've got all these webinars have been recorded and are available to go back and watch. Rach, do you just want to give an update on the 100% funding?
Yeah, so there was 100% funding available under the Regional Business Partners Network. Unfortunately for Bay of Plenty, that funding has been exhausted, so there is no more free coaching vouchers being issued. The good news, if you're in potentially the Waikato region, they still have funds available, so it does come down to which area your business is in as to what's available. Regardless of where your business is based, there is still the up to 50% subsidised business coaching and training still available. That was the scheme before the 100% COVID support came in. So if you are after training, advice, help with your marketing, you can definitely take advantage of that 50% subsidy for that. And if you're interested, just reach out to us, grow@thefirestation.nz, and we can get you the information you need to sign up for that.
Yeah, or just contact us on Facebook or
via
our website. So along similar lines, if we're based in Rotorua, we're going to be launching a new group-based program. For those who aren't familiar with us, we're a business growth centre. We do individual coaching and training on all sorts of different topics like leadership or finance, marketing, sales, governance, you name it. But we also run group programs, putting a group of business owners through training for 3 or 6 months, depending on which program it is. So the council, Rotorua Lakes Council, very kindly signed off on, I think it'll be our 18th Incubate program. So details will be out probably around the end of the month, perhaps, and we're looking to launch in July. So if you think you might be interested in that, keep an eye out. It will be overhauled from what we've done previously, yeah, designed basically to rebuild your business as we come through COVID and obviously this recession that we're experiencing. And that's all from us. So thanks again. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you either at one of our events or maybe another one of these, or who knows, maybe in person one day. Thanks very much.
Well, thanks, guys.